The most attractive girls that I had ever known in my life were spam texting my phone the freakiest messages I have ever seen. But after what happened with the first girl, all of this meant nothing. It started on the first day of school. All of my friends at the time had girlfriends or girls that they would talk to. And I was actually known as like the goody two-shoes of my school. I didn't cuss, so no swear words. I didn't ever litter. I didn't ever do anything even close to being illegal. No smoking, drinking, absolutely nothing. Had good grades in school, and that's what my friends knew me as. And they actually made fun of me for it all the time. A little bit about the whole part of me not cussing, but more so about the fact that I was never flirtatious with girls. I would never try to go for girls whatsoever, even the ones who I thought liked me, because I was too insecure. So how come I didn't care when all the most attractive girls that I knew at the time were texting me the craziest, most freaky things I have ever seen that most guys would fold over? Well, I remember showing up to class at the very beginning of the school year and all of my friends making the normal jokes about how I never talked to girls. And to be honest, maybe I deserved it because I actually was kind of the odd one out for that. I don't know. My friends and I were in one of those classrooms that had these like round tables instead of having desks, which means we all sat right next to each other so we could talk nonstop. And they would not stop making jokes about how I don't talk to girls. And then eventually the teacher stands up as he's talking to come up to us, thinking that he was going to yell at them for talking or tell them to stop or anything like that. He comes up, he asks them like what they're talking about, and they tell him, and instantly my face goes red. I'm like, there's no way my friends right now are telling the teacher that I get no girls. Like, why does the teacher have to know that? And that's when it gets even crazier. As they say, oh, it's because Dylan won't talk to this girl, X, Y, and Z, whatever. The teacher joins in on the joking. And I'll be honest, I'm tough, so I didn't take it to complete heart. But at the same time, it's like, there's no way a teacher's joining in on this. And he made some like slide, like unk joke that like only a 40-year-old would make. So I don't know. I didn't care that much. But after hearing him say that, it almost left a ring in my ears of like, wait, what if he's right? All of these people saying this about me not talking to girls, what is the real reason? And the truth is, it's because I was insecure. I didn't think I looked good enough. I was short. I couldn't talk. I had nothing really going for me. Knowing that that was the real answer, I decided to go on a journey to improve myself in every way humanly possible. And I started binging YouTube videos, a little bit like this one right here. And it actually changed my life for the better. So if you're here, I guess you're in luck and you might want to subscribe. But the whole point is that when I was watching these videos, I got so inspired to make a change, to make a difference. And unlike most people, I took action. I was watching countless videos about how to look better, how to make my hair look better and everything like that. And I was like, all right, I'm going to start doing this and see what happens. So I followed the base level things, and the things that actually made the biggest difference were me getting a fake tan, because nobody knew it was a fake tan unless I made a mistake, which by the way, a few times I did where I looked orange, or fixing my hair by getting a perm and using sea salt spray like this. And all these sort of things coming together actually completely changed the way that I look in a span of a few different months. And this is what all led to the most attractive girls that I knew all hitting me up. Being told my entire life that it's what's on the inside that counts and everything like this, I didn't know if this was actually going to work. But either way, I didn't care, because improving my looks made me happy until it got to a breaking point. It became an obsession. Any little bit of fat that I saw on my body, any little mistake, imperfection or anything, I had to fix it. And the worst part of this all wasn't that I was just improving my looks, but it was the fact that I was only doing it because of what other people thought. So I'm nonstop improving myself until I actually went to the beach one summer. I went with one of my good friends and I noticed a difference. All of the girls were looking at me in a way that they never have before. And it's not that I didn't get girls looking at me, but there's a big difference between a girl looking at you and a girl looking at you. And they were looking at me, if that makes any sense. And I was like, oh, this is crazy. I like this. Now, that being said, I was still way too scared to try and talk to them or anything like that. But I did not care, because I finally saw that this actually made a little bit of a difference. I started feeling like I was on top of the world, so much so that I started posting videos on social media. I went viral. I gained hundreds of thousands of followers, and my life completely changed. Every single aspect of the way that I felt was good. I started feeling happy, confident, like I've never felt before, not knowing that it would all change. It all lasted up until one of these new school years. I remember sitting down and deciding that this is the year that everything changes, that I finally am not the guy known for not having a girl in his life. So I eventually go up to this girl who was in one of my new classes, and I started talking to her. But unlike all the times before where I had flaked out or gotten friend zoned by a girl because I don't actually act flirtatious, I literally just act like their friend, I'm like, no, this time I'm going all in And if I get rejected, I would rather get rejected sooner rather than trying to play this long game of being someone's friend for like a year. Like, that is just crazy. I decided I was never going to do that again. But you're probably wondering, what did I say? Well, I go up to this girl and I made the huge mistake of talking about another guy that she was with before. Like, who does that? That is so stupid. Like, why would I do that? You're Dylan, your younger self. Why would you do that? Somebody go and help him. But anyway, I did that. And to my surprise, it worked. And I know you're probably looking at me like, what do you mean? It worked. The girl actually liked me. So I started like asking, I was like, hey, can I get your Snapchat, all this? Yeah. And it worked as well. We started talking and I was like, there's no way it's this easy. And that's when I sort of thought back, like, is this because of all this improving that I did, watching videos like this and everything? And I was like, I don't know, but I really don't care. So I'm talking to this girl thinking that I'm like on top of the world. I feel so great until eventually I ask her out, not knowing that what she was going to say. I'm sort of skeptical, thinking that maybe I made a mistake. Maybe this is just going to be like every other time where I just ended up getting rejected. But that's actually not what happened. She said yes. And I felt extremely excited. And this excitement lasted for a very long time. And I would argue it pretty much lasted our entire relationship until eventually that ended. And when that relationship ended, it crushed my spirit. Like, I felt the worst I had ever felt in my life. There was nothing that could save me. I was the most anxious, just sad person after that. But the thing is, I didn't completely lose my looks. I was still making videos all the time on how to look good, how to make people look better, and giving tips. So if you like that, subscribe. But besides the point, I still looked pretty decent. And for some reason, I'm sitting here after this breakup feeling horrible, but now there's more girls coming to me. And that's not what I expected, because I believed and I was so reliant on this girl. I thought that she was the only one that would like me. But I started getting girl after girl after girl hitting me up, saying crazy things like that I've never even heard before. And it is insane. Now, was it because I had hundreds of thousands of followers? Was it because of my looks? Did I not look that good? I really didn't know. But I did know that my life had changed. But for some reason, this felt empty. I felt like there was nothing there. And weirdly enough, this is just like when I used to play games all the time. I remember like in Minecraft, for example, my brother would go in like creative mode and get like a bunch of diamonds and then turn it back to survival mode to act like he got them the right way, even though he like technically cheated. And then once I found that out, it ruined the game for me. And I thought to myself, having the thing that I wanted this whole time, girls' attention, would fix my problems. But for some reason now I had all this attention, yet it felt like nothingness. And it reminded me just of this game. It was never having the thing that mattered. It was the chase. It was getting the thing that mattered. And this actually led me to a downward spiral. I remember looking at myself in the mirror thinking, is this it? Is this what life is about? Is this the only thing that I have going for me is my social media? Like, is that all I have? So that's when I made the dumb decision to start texting a bunch of girls just to test the limits to see what would happen. And all of these girls were, I guess, into me back to back to back. And these were like the most attractive girls I had ever seen. And I was like, there's no way this is happening to me. Like, the guy who has never gotten anything in his life is now getting all these girls' attention. So I would work out all the time, focus on my looks, whatever, make content. And I was really just honed in. And I remember being at the gym in the locker room covered in sweat. And I would just stare at myself because I had a huge ego at this point. Staring at my face, thinking, oh, I look so good. I had pretty shredded abs, I will be honest, and I had a good amount of muscle. But I remember feeling a phone in my pocket, all this buzzing of girls saying the craziest things, saying like out-of-pocket stuff. If you know, you know, like girls are a lot more crazy than you would expect. And they're saying all this stuff. And I'm seeing it, and I remember just staring at my phone blankly and just not caring at all. But that's when it got to the weirdest point of the entire story. After getting all these texts, eventually one girl texts me, and she has to hang out. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll hang out with this girl. Like, why not? I'm kind of lonely. Like, I'm always working. Like, maybe I should just let loose for the first time in a really long time. And I'm like, okay, let me hang out with this girl. So we set something up. We decide we're going to hang out. So eventually I get in my car after the gym one day. This like a few days go by. And I remember seeing her. Now, this girl was insanely attractive, like next level attractive. And I don't know, I couldn't get that out of my head. But that's when we're kind of like riding together. And she starts doing the most like sexual, crazy stuff I had ever seen. Like, genuinely, she is like grabbing me without saying anything. I don't know. I don't even want to go into detail because it's kind of like, I don't know who's going to watch this, but it was just bad, right? Bad in the sense of like, it was something I'd never expected. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't bad. I don't know. But she was being extremely sexual, like overly. And for some reason, I just didn't care. And we're driving. I take her out. We go to eat. And then we go back to her house. Now, when I'm at her house, I'm sitting there and we're in her room and she starts once again doing this crazy stuff, trying to be really sexual. And you know what? I was sitting there empty-minded and I was questioning myself at this point. I'm like, why do I not care? Why does this do nothing for me? And I remember she's literally at this point, like on top of me. She's clothed, fully clothed, by the way, okay? But she's on top of me trying to do like crazy stuff. And I'm like, no. Like, I didn't say no, but I'm like avoiding it. I'm like looking around, trying to like take the attention off of me. And it's not really working. And that's when eventually I'm like, wait. And then I make up a distraction, go grab my phone, and I just start looking at my phone. There's nothing there, no notifications, nothing. I mean, there was probably a few, but like nothing that was important at all. And then I'm like, okay, I have to go. And in my head, I remember looking at her face, and she looked not even sad, but like angry at me. And I'm like, okay. I say bye, whatever, get in my car, I leave. And on the way home, I just start crying. And this is like, bro, it's like, bro, what kind of guy cries after a girl is like doing that? I don't know. But I start crying and I'm like, okay. And the reason I started crying is because I realized that in life, it's not about the girl, the money that you're going to make, the job, the goals that you have. It is really just the pursuit. Because once you have the thing that you want, you move to the next, to the next, to the next. And you always think that you're going to reach a point where you can just be happy and content. But the reality is there's always going to be the next thing. And I know I'm using a girl story as an explanation, but I truly think that this is how life is for everyone. So don't fixate on being where you want to be. Just try to enjoy the process of getting there.